For only the third time, Napoli are champions of Italy. A southern Italian team winning the Scudetto is like gold dust, and Napoli have not reigned supreme since the days of Maradona. It has been a long and painful journey for the Neopolitans, but thanks to a film producer, a veteran manager, a 6'1" Nigerian striker, and many others, Italy shines sky blue again. This is a story of how Napoli won their third Scudetto. Napoli won their second Scudetto in 1990, which was the tail end of their golden era. The club had experienced little success until they signed Diego Maradona in 1984, and after doing this, their lives would change forever. They won their first ever Serie A in 1987, along with a Coppa Italia, and would later win a UEFA Cup too. The city of Naples, so often looked down upon by the north of Italy, finally had their day in the sunlight. Diego Maradona was banned from football for 15 months after a positive cocaine test following the 1990 World Cup. He would never play for Napoli again. The club had some moments of success during the 1990s, but in 1998 they faced disaster. After only winning 2 games all season, they were relegated to Serie B. Whilst they were promoted back in 2000, they suffered immediate relegation. The club was facing a constant battle with financial issues, and would be declared bankrupt in 2004. The days of glory under Maradona were now a distant memory. They were saved, however, by Italian film producer Aurelio De Laurentiis. He purchased the club, who he said by now were little more than a piece of paper, for €37 million in 2004, hoping to bring them back to the top. They were placed in Serie C. However, their die-hard fanbase never left them, and crowds of over 50,000 would turn up to their third-tier games, a higher attendance than most Serie A clubs. They were promoted to Serie B in 2006, and achieved a second successive promotion the next year to return to the top flight. Walter Mazzarri helped the club continue their rise, and had finished 6th in 2010 and 3rd in 2011. Mazzarri guided them to their first major honour since the Maradona days, when goals from Edinson Cavani and Marek Hamšík secured a 2-0 win over Juventus in the final of the Coppa Italia. Rafael Benitez won them another Coppa Italia in 2014. Napoli was starting to pick up silverware again, showing they were finding their feet again amongst the elite, but what they truly desired was Scudetto number 3. Benitez would be replaced by Maurizio Sarri, whose time at Napoli was a romantic tragedy. In his first campaign of 15-16, the side would start to play what was branded as Sarri ball. Their quick passing play drew many admirers, and Gonzalo Higuain got the record for most goals in a Serie A season with 36. They had finished second to Juventus, and finished 3rd the next season. The 17-18 campaign was their peak, but they ultimately walked away empty-handed. They topped the table for much of the campaign, but despite reaching a club record 91 points, they did not have enough in the tank to overtake the almighty Juventus, who finished on 95 points. It was heartbreak for the Neapolitans. They played beautifully, gave everything they could, and yet it was still not enough. Sarri departed for Chelsea, and was replaced by Carlo Ancelotti. Ancelotti would guide the club to second in his first season, but was sacked midway through his second campaign due to disappointing results. He was replaced by Gennaro Gattuso, and whilst Napoli finished 7th, they would win the Coppa Italia. After finishing outside the Champions League spots the next season, Gattuso was dismissed, and replaced by Luciano Spalletti. Spalletti was both a journeyman and a nearly man. From humble beginnings, playing around the lower tiers throughout his career, he took Empoli from Serie C to the top flight in his first management job. After taking Udinese to the Champions League spots, he was hired by Roma. He took them to consecutive Coppa Italia titles, but 3 consecutive second-place finishes in Serie A saw the Scudetto agonisingly elude them. He would win 2 league titles and a Russian Cup with Zenit St. Petersburg, before returning to Italy to take charge of Roma again. This spell was marred by a falling out of Francesco Totti in the final season of the Roma legend's career, that saw Spalletti booed on occasions by Roma fans. He took them to yet another second-place finish, and departed at the end of the season. A spell in charge of Inter saw them qualify for the Champions League, but not win any honours, and Spalletti was dismissed in 2019. Luciano Spalletti was spent 2 years away from the game, taking time to look after his vineyard in Tuscany, but in 2021 he was appointed manager of Napoli. It was an ideal union, a manager and a club both desperately seeking a league title, and whilst Napoli feared their chance of a 3rd Scudetto victory may have passed them by, Spalletti was optimistic. Having faced tragedy when Diego Maradona passed away in 2020, Napoli renamed their stadium after him, and hoped that his passing would inspire them to rule Italy in his honour. The 2021 season both started and ended well for Napoli, but several losses around the festive period meant they were out of the running for the title, and they finished 5th. They would win their first 8 games of the next campaign, but the title was still a bridge too far, as they finished 3rd. Some Napoli fans were unhappy with Spalletti, but the next season they would be made to eat their words. The summer of 22 was one of change for Napoli. Kalidou Koulibaly, Dries Mertens and Lorenzo Insigne, 3 players who had served the club valiantly over a long period of time, would all leave. Many Napoli fans wondered how they'd cope without these players, but the club displayed shrewd recruitment. Centre-back Kim Min-jae was brought in from Fenerbahce for 18 million, along with a little-known Georgian attacking midfielder named Kavica Kvaratskhelia for €10 million. These players may have been little known at the time, but they would soon become Neapolitan gods. The season started well, with a 5-2 away win to Hellas Verona, and then a 4-0 home victory over Monza. After 2 consecutive draws, Napoli burst into life, with 11 consecutive league wins, with Victor Osimhen in fine form up front, assisted brilliantly by the creativity of Kvaratskhelia, now christened by the Napoli faithful as Kvaradona. Kim was putting in fine displays at the back too, and Napoli fans wondered with cautious optimism if their time had come. Napoli started the new year by experiencing their first league defeat of the season with a 1-0 loss to Inter, but an 8-game winning run followed, and the cautious optimism started to creep into inevitability. Amongst this run was an incredible 5-1 thrashing of Juventus, a side who for so many years had seemed immovable from the Serie A throne. It was a sign that Italian football had a new king. Incredible moments continued to flow, including a late winner from Giovanni Simeone against Roma, and although they lost 1-0 to Lazio, wins over Atalanta and Torino meant the title was creeping ever closer. They also reached the quarter-finals of the Champions League, but were defeated by AC Milan, as well as crashing out to Cremonese in the Coppa Italia. They were humbled in the league by a 4-0 home humiliation to AC Milan. A 2-1 away win at Lecce followed, before they travelled to Juventus. Juve had recently received a boost, with their 15-point deduction overturned, and were looking to get their season back on track. A tight game saw Juve have 2 goals disallowed. It would have been impressive for Napoli to emerge with a draw, but they ended up going even better. In stoppage time, Elif Elmas whipped in a cross to the back post, and there to meet it was Giacomo Raspadori. The forward volleyed it towards goal, and it went through Wojciech Szczesny's legs and into the net. Napoli had snatched it at the death, achieving a double over Juve, and the title was within touching distance. Napoli were welcomed home by a group of fans following the coach on motorcycles. Everyone knew the title was theirs, and it was only a matter of time. If they won their next game against Salernitana, the title would be confirmed. Matthias Oliveira gave Napoli the lead to get the party started, but 6 minutes from time, a brilliant goal from Bouli Dia levelled the scores and put the limoncello on ice. Spalletti was heartbroken seeing the Napoli fans let down, but he had the chance to win the title at his old stomping ground of Udinese. Napoli faced Udinese on the 4th of May 2023, knowing that a draw would be enough to confirm their status as champions. Back in Naples, the Estadio Maradona was packed, with Neapolitans watching the game on big screens. The city held its breath. Udinese took a surprise lead in the first half, but in the second half, a shot from Kvara rebounded to Osimhen, who made no mistake and levelled the scores. The masked striker, who had scored time and time again that season and become beloved in Naples, had scored the goal they had been dreaming of. The final whistle blew and the dreams were confirmed. Napoli were champions of Italy for the first time in 33 years. The ghost of Maradona had been avenged. Napoli fans ran onto the pitch, whilst the city of Naples descended into an intense party, the likes of which had not been seen since 1990. Fireworks were let off around the city, and people danced together with joy in the streets. Napoli fans were also taking to the streets to celebrate in Milan, London, and many other cities. A generation of Napoli fans had never seen their side crowned as Italian champions, but now they finally could. It was the moment so many had dreamed of, and showed just how much football means to Napoli fans. De Laurentiis said after the game it was just the beginning, saying he would never sell Osimhen, and Spalletti's contract had been extended. Meanwhile, Spalletti summed up the joy he had brought to Naples by saying, Seeing the Parter smiling and joyful is the greatest emotion for me. They are the ones who pass on their happiness. There are people here who will be able to get through difficult moments in their lives because they remember this moment. These people deserve all the joy. Spalletti had finally won Serie A, being the oldest coach to do so at 64. There is unlikely to ever be a team and a manager that it means more to. The long wait is finally over for Napoli, but they must not stop here. With the elusive third Scudetto off their back, the club can push for further honours, as the Juventus dynasty is over, and Serie A has had 4 different winners in the past 4 seasons. If Napoli can keep hold of their superstars and create more of them, then who knows what incredible moments the future can bring for the newest kings of Italian football.